weeks to go in the chase for the championship, and the title looks to be turning Liverpool's way, thanks to a man called Rosenthal. No rest for Oldham. Their gruelling season continued yesterday with a Good Friday game against second division leaders Leeds. Billy McNeil is hoping that Celtic's erratic season can take an upward turn. A cup final place is today's goal. And we preview Michael Watson's attempt to become the WBA middleweight champion of the world tonight at the Albert Hall. Good afternoon.
Good day.
Now, James, I think before we start, I have to say, people around the country have been saying to me that Greavsie knows his football.
Nearly pulled it off.
Almost tipped the cup final.
Crystal Palace and Oldham. You were lucky. You got one in, Manchester United. But I got the one that I wanted, Crystal Palace. Yeah. That was great.
So we have to say congratulations, obviously, to both sides for getting there and what were two cracking semi-finals. Right, well, we start today at the top of the Barclays League, where Liverpool lead Aston Villa, their only real challengers, by 3 points with a game in hand. Now, the race is far from over, but Liverpool were put in the driving seat on Wednesday night by a man called Rosenthal. So you can imagine who we sent to Selhurst Park as our reporter for the game. That's it, Alan Parry.
Hello. Well, with a nose like mine, I was the obvious substitute for Jim Rosenthal, and Ronnie Rosenthal proved the perfect replacement for the injured Ian Rush, as the fate of the fixture list sent Liverpool to Selhurst Park 3 days after Charlton's landlords Crystal Palace had knocked them out of the FA Cup. A star was born on Wednesday night. Rosenthal, on trial from the Belgian club Standard Liège, scoring a perfect hat-trick, the first here with his right foot. It was Rosenthal's first full game for Liverpool. He played only 20 minutes as a sub against Southampton, and his second goal was an explosive left-footer. The Israeli international was an instant hit. His bustling shoot-from-anywhere style, very popular with Liverpool's army of travelling fans. Rosenthal linked brilliantly with John Barnes to complete his hat-trick with a superb header this time, and in this form, he'd be a bargain at £500,000, the fee Liège wanted when his proposed move to Luton Town recently fell through. Liverpool, with 5 team changes from the semi-final, Beardsley and Houghton among those left out, were in sparkling form, and Barnes made it 4-0 in the final minute. It was the perfect way for Liverpool to bounce back following their cup defeat. Kenny Dalglish no doubt mystified that they couldn't produce that form at Villa Park, and perhaps regretting that he didn't select the star of the night for the semi-final. But the real question on everyone's lips, as Rosenthal enjoyed his moment of glory, is he any relation to our Jim?
I don't know somebody who is close to me in England, Rosenthal, so...
He's the presenter of the year, you must know him.
I've heard about him, yeah. Everybody say to me that Jim Rosenthal maybe is somebody from my family, but...
I got to tell you, you're a much better player than him.
Maybe you know better than me.
Well, meanwhile, Liverpool's 2 rivals for the First Division title, Arsenal and Aston Villa, were in opposition at Highbury.
Merson. Towards Alan Smith. Pushed away brilliantly by Spink. Holding once more. McGrath well behind it. Only Cascarino up in a claret and blue shirt, though. He's getting a bit of support from Platt. Now, this could be interesting. Platt has pulled away. Price has gone through for Villa. A great chance for Villa. Chris Price has done it on the breakaway.
So while Villa were doing well at the top of the table, Manchester City were struggling away for points in their battle to avoid relegation against Queen's Park Rangers.
Started well, though, Ian, with Clive Allen knocking one in there. A typical Clive Allen goal. Actually, they look as though they're battling their way out of trouble now, don't they, Manchester City? They're playing well, particularly since that game against Villa that we showed. And here comes a couple of chances that really went begging, didn't they?
Yes.
Including Niall Quinn missing one there. But then Rangers, of course, they got themselves on the sheet with an equaliser. Roy Wegalili knocking it in there. But they fought back, City, and up come Big Hendry and knocked in number 2. And I think that they were on their way then. And
yes.
That's just about the end of it. Another good goal from Mark Ward. coming up. Left by Noel Quinn there. Well taken, well struck effort that. His third in 3 games, so he's going well.
Yeah, been a good acquisition for them.
Goodbye.
And as you say, Jim, I think they're getting out of it all right.
Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it? Yeah.
Now, Liverpool, we saw earlier on there with Mr. Rosenthal.
Yes, that Rosenthal's got a nose for goal, there's no doubt about it. And he's better looking than our Jim, that man.
That's for sure. Well, Liverpool play Forest today. And tomorrow, I have to say, there's a memorial service at Anfield at 3 o'clock. It's a year tomorrow since the Hillsborough disaster, and the memorial service will be held at Anfield tomorrow. Right, well, the players of Oldham Athletic had just 38 hours rest before they replayed the semi-final with Manchester United before taking the field again. Now, a 12 o'clock kick-off yesterday against second division leaders Leeds United.
And they did well. When you think about how difficult it is for Oldham, a team like Oldham, that's Milligan going through there, and he was tripped by Mel Sterling. When you think that they've had to pick themselves up from a midweek loss against Manchester United, a second semi-final replay, just how well they've done there. Rick Oldham knocking in the penalty. Really, this is a supreme effort by Oldham, because I think quite a few of us were looking to see whether they were going to crumble or not, but they've come back with a vengeance. Ball bouncing about there. Our Mervyn Day hitting him in the chest, and
Rick Holden making
Rick Holden again.
I think the one thing, Jim, the emotional trauma of Wednesday plus the physical exertions of the game were amazing for them to come back and play like this. Frankie Bunn taking a lovely little
hot and cross because he's not been in the side, and it was Good Friday. So it's a great effort. And it keeps them in the driving seat, of course, for the playoffs, which of course is important. Good goal, that. Well taken by Bobby Davidson. But Leeds haven't won for 4 games, and they play Sheffield United at home on Monday. So it's all to play for in that division, isn't there?
All to play for. But also in the second division during a week, there were impressive wins for some of the sides chasing Leeds. And here with the roundup is Martin Tyler.
Sheffield United strengthened their position in second place in the second division, despite going a goal down after 4 minutes to Watford on Tuesday. Gary Penrice, his 5th in 5 games. United had lost their previous 2, but Paul Stancliffe's long throw caused complete confusion 8 minutes before half-time. Eventually, Tony Agana smacked in the equaliser. Two minutes into the second half, Sheffield United into the lead. Colin Hill's cross very much in the Sheffield United style. Bob Booker first to it with a fine header under pressure. 2-1, and Watford's hopes of a recovery ended by a strange goal. Tony Coton, a most capable goalkeeper, but deceived by the spiteful bounce on Brian Dean's shot. A soft goal gratefully received by Sheffield United. The last minute now, and Sheffield United setting themselves for their final push for promotion with a 4th from substitute Billy Whitehurst. Newcastle United stayed 3 points further back in 3rd place, their midweek success at the expense of West Bromwich Albion. The opening goal from John Anderson, an Albion reserve way back in the 70s. In the second half, a milestone for Mick Quinn, his 30th league goal of the season, 34 now in all competitions. Like most of them, he was there at the right time. And Newcastle needed it too, because West Bromwich Albion kept going right until the last, when Don Goodman was rewarded for his persistence. 2-1 to Newcastle. With Swindon, Sunderland and Blackburn all losing in midweek, more possibilities of a playoff place for Wolves, thanks to a typical charge by Steve Bull against Leicester. His first past Martin Hodge after 6 minutes. Bull turned goal maker 10 minutes later, a cross rounded off by Robbie Dennison. And Wolves on their way to equalling their biggest win of the season. Andy Much made a second for Dennison 3 minutes into the second half. 3-0 to Wolves, and the stage set for Steve Bull to capitalise on the end of Leicester's challenge in the match. Bull still holds doubts about his ability to perform in the World Cup, but Bobby Robson has named him again for the England squad, That was his 25th of the season, and the 26th followed 5 minutes later. Wolves 7th, and manager Graham Turner with a chance of completing his team's journey from the 4th to the 1st. West Ham United still very much in the playoff frame. 23 points from 11 games under Billy Bonds now. Jimmy Quinn's shot here produced an own goal off Paul Miller. And it wasn't to be a happy night for Miller, who spent most of his career with London clubs. No such complications about West Ham's second. Bournemouth should have known better than to leave Ian Bishop with such room. Bishop, a Bournemouth player only last season. West Ham's traditional family spirit restored under Billy Bonds. Their only worry in this game came 8 minutes before half-time, when they allowed David Coleman to beat Ludek Mikloško. 2-1 until 20 minutes into the second half. Then Miller found himself in difficulties again, eventually fouling Quinn. Julian Dix not feeling the pressure after recent penalty misses. 3-1 to West Ham. They've scored 19 times in their last 6 games now. 4-1 from Martin Allen. The second division set for a terrific climax. Out in front in the third division, Bristol City. Ian Ferguson on loan from Hearts, earning a 12th-minute penalty against Crewe on Tuesday. Mark Gavin taking it. City on their way to their 8th win in 10 games. And 23-year-old Bob Taylor very much the focal point of their attack. Taylor's first goal of his 3rd hat-trick inside 6 weeks. Bob Taylor was signed from Leeds, where he didn't really establish himself. But Bristol City are bringing out the best in him. His 3rd goal of the game took his season's haul to 34. 4-0 to Bristol City, but 4 minutes later, Taylor damaged a hamstring. He'll be out for at least 2 weeks. Crewe still have their sights on the playoffs. This the end of a 14-game unbeaten run for Dario Gradi's team. But they had the final word, Aidan Murphy, 4-1 to Bristol City.
So City going